Hey everybody, wanted to share a personal story with you today. This is something that happened to me when I was in high school and it's stuck with me ever since. I don't have a script or anything, I'm just kind of sitting here enjoying the little bit of rainfall that we have here today. But what I'm about to tell you is exactly as it happened, according to my memory, and I'm curious if any listeners have similar experiences. So it starts one afternoon when I'm over at my friend's house. There were three of us in total. There was Greg, Jake, and myself. We had been hanging out in Jake's basement after school one day when we decided that the weather was nice enough that we wanted to go on a drive since Jake had just recently got his license. From the basement, the three of us climbed up the stairs and passed through the door into the living room on the ground level of the house. I'm going to try and paint a picture as best I can of the house's layout, as I think it is relevant to the story. Now, immediately upon exiting the basement, you're stood in the center of this living room with a tall ceiling. Immediately to your left would be a hall that led directly into the kitchen, separated by a threshold that housed a fireplace. You would essentially have to pass under this archway to enter the kitchen. If you would instead go right from the basement door, there would be a small hall that then led to another door, which led into the master bedroom. It's worth noting that in all of my time being at that house, I had never been inside the master bedroom. There was simply never a reason for me to be in that part of his house. Jake's Tahoe was parked in the driveway, and the kitchen had a connecting mudroom with a side door that led directly to the driveway. So when the three of us came up from the basement, we headed left and began walking towards the kitchen. This is where things get weird. So we are walking single file with maybe an arm's length between the three of us. Jake's in the front with Greg behind him and myself at the back of the line. We go to walk through that archway into the kitchen, and so Jake goes and then Greg goes. And now it's my time to pass under, and I'm not even thinking anything of it at this point, right? And so I walk forward and I go under this archway, and immediately and instantly, as my body fully passes over that threshold, I find myself kind of impossibly stood in the master bedroom, facing the light switch on the farthest wall of the room. And as I come to and start to recognize my surroundings, two things immediately become apparent. The first is that I can hear my friends confused and calling for me. And the second is that I feel completely out of it. You know, I was a little dizzy. I felt kind of nauseous. I just didn't feel right. And that was kind of that. I met up with my friends a few moments later and I asked them what had happened. And they essentially said that I had trailed off and they didn't know why. I tried to explain to them my experience, and after some long pauses and some slight skepticism on their end, we kind of just dropped it and admitted the whole thing was strange. To this day, I really don't know what to make of this experience. I know I was in the right state of mind, but I also understand that it should be impossible for somebody to be displaced physically in that kind of way. My friends don't argue with me about whether or not I disappeared from behind them that day, as even they had noticed that I was missing by the time they reached the mudroom. So yeah, that's one of the strangest things that's ever happened to me. I appreciate you tuning in, and if you have any strange or unexplainable stories, please feel free to reach out and share them. Catch you on the next one.